Okay.
I remember when I was at Shanghai airport and I cried so hard, you know. It was like my heart was broken.
That's so crazy.
I felt so sad.
Like you were losing a part of...
Yeah.
Did you find yourself here? You feel like when you were 16?
Yeah. Every time I went to Australia, to China, to India, to a lot of countries in Europe, and I always came back and said, Taiwan is still the best for me, you know? For me, the best. I'm a really outgoing person.
Yeah.
But in recent years, there has been a development that like really annoys me more and more.
Okay. What is it?
It is, you know, it is the staring of people.
Apparently they do that.
I have sometimes the feeling that I'm more like an animal, you know, it's like, foreigner. I mean, it's normal, you know, when you see something that is special and that's different, you look.
Yeah.
You're allowed to look, and I have no problem. But if you just look.
Yeah. Wait, stop. Stop looking at me like that. Do they actually stare like that?
Yeah. Or sometimes.
Oh, just with the phone and like slowly zooming in. Yeah.
It makes me mad.
Okay, welcome back to Fun Day Chat. I am Wade, and today we have another special guest, Michelle.
Hi.
Michelle, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, what should I tell you? There's so
Who
much
are
to
you?
know.
Where you're from?
Hello, my name is Michelle. I'm from Germany, and I'm living in Taiwan for almost 12 years.
12? That's a long time.
A long time.
I think that's actually probably the same amount of time that I spent in Taiwan.
Really?
Yeah, because I've gone back to South Africa, then I've spent some time in the States. So if you add it up, it's around 12 years.
Yeah. I didn't leave Taiwan like for 9 years.
Straight?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, let's get right into it. How did you even get here in the first place 12 years ago?
12 years ago. Oh, I you know, it's always really funny because I came here when I was 16. I think that was
so
my first
young.
time. Yeah.
Wow.
It was like I've never been outside of Germany. You know, I was in high school, I was in junior high school, but I was always interested in languages. So I learned Hindi when I was 13. I started to learn Japanese when I was 15.
Wow.
So I was actually like kind of known for my like Asian thingy and language, you know, affiliation. This started really, really young.
Yeah.
And then in high school, my friend just like, oh, my dad has a Taiwanese friend. And this friend is always telling my dad to send me to Taiwan, but I don't want to go alone. Do you want to go with me? And I just like,
Did you even know where Taiwan was, or?
I had no idea.
Yeah.
We learned we learned in school about like Taiwan doing some plastic stuff and you know,
and a lot of things are made in Taiwan.
Made in Taiwan, but no idea. I always wanted to go to Japan, you know. I always wanted to go to India, but Taiwan was never on my list.
Okay.
So I said yes because Asia is Asia and travel is travel and never traveled before.
Yeah.
So then I just went.
Wow. 16, just the two of you?
Yes.
Wow.
And we stayed with a host family.
Okay.
Like my friend's dad's friend helped us to organize the whole thing. It was like 4 weeks.
That's good.
Like 2 weeks, it was an internship in a company, and 2 weeks we were just like traveling around. And
wow. Now, what was your very first impression when you first arrived in Taiwan? Like, do you remember around what season? Was it summer, winter?
It was like, and it's still my favorite season. And like it was in August. It was August 16th, 2010.
August? August when it's sweaty and
no, it's just like it's still my favorite season of the year. It's like August and September is like when it's getting cooler. But it's still, I love the hot weather, you know, but it's not as grueling hot as in June or July.
Okay, true.
And, you know, I'm really sensitive, and it's just like, oh, the smell and how the light is falling. You know, I'm really weird in this kind of thing. But I don't know. It was just so beautiful when I came.
Yeah. It was a big difference, like contrast versus what you experience in Germany.
I mean,
like
I'm
Asia.
living in Northern Europe. I mean, I live close to the Danish border. So for us, everything after September is basically winter.
I see.
Like for me,
okay, that makes sense.
The sun is going away. It gets gray. The leaves are falling. So super big difference.
What was that first experience basically for that 4 weeks? Did you enjoy? I mean, how weird would it have been to first come into Taiwan and only see Asian people? Like, I don't know if you have a big Asian community back in Germany or...
No, not at all.
Yeah, what was that like?
Nothing. I don't know. I just saw these people as human beings, you know?
Yes.
For me, actually, race never played a role.
Really?
Yes, I just
Never
saw them
felt
as
like-
normal, as human beings. But I felt like they're so much friendlier than German people, you know?
Okay.
So much more interested in talking to you. I think this was like my really, really big first impression. That, they're always, oh, you're so beautiful, and how are you? Where you from?
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
all this like really open, like kind-hearted people.
Yes.
This is like the first really big impression I had.
That makes sense. Yeah. Wow. So that left a lasting impression on you.
Yeah.
And so after 16, you left. How many years in between did you decide to come
well,
back?
actually, I just, when I look back right now, it's just so funny.
Yeah.
Because, well, we went there for 4 weeks, right?
Yeah.
And after 2 weeks, I already called my mom and just like, Mom, I'm not coming back.
You're not coming
And
back.
then informed the host family, and it's just like,
That
I
you're
don't,
gonna live
I don't
with
want to
them,
go
you're
back. And
settling
they
down.
were actually like really supportive of that.
Wow.
They're just like, yeah, if you find a way to stay here, why not?
We'll adopt you.
And I
part
actually
of a family.
called the immigration office, and I just like, is there a possibility that I can just把高中读完了, that I finish my high school diploma here?
Yeah.
And you know, I think they were quite confused.
Yeah. I don't know if I've heard of anybody just
And I
joining up
called the European International School, and I asked them if I can
enroll. And
if I can enroll, and they're just like, yeah, what about your parents? I just like, I have no parents. My parents are in Germany, and they're just like, no, I'm sorry.
No, you're 16.
Yeah, you know, when I'm looking back, I really put a lot of heart into that, you know? Like,
I mean, actually, a lot of people just talk about like, oh yeah, I like to visit, I like to stay, but then they don't follow through. The fact that like you called and like you're like actually trying to see if you can, I mean, shows something.
and I still remember when I was in, because we needed to go to Shanghai first and then back to Frankfurt.
Okay.
I remember when I was at Shanghai airport and I cried so hard, you know? It was like my heart was broken.
That's so crazy.
I felt so sad.
Like you were losing a part of.
Yeah.
Did you find yourself
Yeah.
here? You feel
Yeah.
like when you were 16?
Yeah, it was really like, and I felt like I really liked the independence, you know.
Yes.
You know, being independent,
makes sense,
and
yeah.
a lot of people who know my story more or less, they know I have. I was happy to be here, independent, and I had the feeling I can restart my life here
I see.
on my terms, you
Yes,
know, not
yes,
on
yes.
any governmental terms or my mother's or my father's terms, my terms, you know.
Okay.
And then I went back, and I was just like, okay. I went back, and I had this goal. I had 2 more years of high school, or 1.5 year more of high
And
school.
you were going to come back.
And I had 4 part-time jobs, and I worked my off.
Wow. Okay.
And I didn't go to the movies. I didn't have anything fancy. I was really just saving my money
Wow.
nonstop. I went to restaurants. I was a waitress. I worked as a, you know, in an ice cream store, anything like this.
All sorts of jobs.
Yeah, all sorts of odd jobs, and I just saved every single penny.
Wow. With one mission to come back to
Yeah.
Taiwan.
That was my mission.
That is crazy. At 16, like where was I? I was 16. I think I was back in South Africa. But I don't know if I had such a determined goal of like where I wanted to go. Like what was it, would you say, about Taiwan that captivated besides like having independence? Because I feel if you go to any country that your
that
family's
was-
not, then you'll
I
find the
think
independence.
it was like the mixture of being independent and Taiwan just being a very safe and livable country, you know.
Absolutely.
If I would have been to India with 16, I don't know if I would have the same sentiments that I
Yes,
had when I went to
very true.
Taiwan, right?
That's so true.
Just like, oh yeah, I'm away from my family, but the conditions here are not really friendly for me, so
Right.
it's not really possible to live there.
Yeah.
on
So
my own.
Taiwan, I 100% agree, because being a Taiwanese, you know, half Taiwanese, I certainly see the benefits of the things that we have here in Taiwan. I
Yeah.
can compare it, you know, to back home and
Yeah.
even just to other countries. And you can see there's so many advantages of like having the
Yeah.
safety, security. And so I see why it's so appealing. And it's funny that in recent years, there's so many people, foreigners that would come and they would settle and, you
Yeah.
know, this becomes their life.
It is just, I just remember one sentence my mother just told me when I called her and told her that I don't want to go back.
Yeah, imagine.
She just like, Michelle, being in a country for travel and living in a country
is different.
is different. And it is your first country. You never ever travel to any other country. So how can you be so stupid? And I just like, no, I'm not stupid.
Yeah.
I want that.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, honestly, looking back, hindsight is 2020. So like, it's so crazy that you're sitting in front of me now, you know, like from when you had that goal when you were 16.
I'm really grateful for this little girl, you know, being so brave, you know, just because her being so brave, I'm able to just sit here, you know?
Absolutely. So now coming back, did you feel like what your mom said, did that have an effect? Like, do you think living here now, having the idea of like, this might be my life, this might be where I settle versus just traveling, did you feel a difference?
That's actually a good question. Because I also travel to other countries to just find out, is there really, you know, I need to have something to compare.
Context, comparison.
And I came, every time I went to Australia, to China, to India, to a lot of countries in Europe, and I always came back and said, Taiwan is still the best for me, you know? For me, the best. Yeah. Okay, what about life? Like, it's like in a, I always think it's like in a love relationship, you know, you have a honeymoon phase.
Yeah, of course.
And in a honeymoon phase, you just love everything.
Everything is great.
I think my honeymoon phase lasts for a lot of years. You know?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Now in this age, I see the differences, you know, I see the pros and cons.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I do have.
And do you feel like, because I think, you know, like people, again, like I mentioned, there's just a lot of foreigners coming in, and then many of them, you know, decide to settle and stay here. And obviously because there's plenty of pros, and I think some of them would be, again, the friendliness of Taiwanese people. I think I've always felt the same when I would visit Taiwan when I was young, you know, when I was younger, or when I would, when I was living in the States and I'd come back. I've always just felt safe. There was no sense of like feeling threatened, or no sense of feeling scared for your life. Yeah, like always just secure. And I think when you are safe, then you can really thrive from there. Sometimes like being in a unsafe environment, you're just trying to survive, right? And it's a very different mindset. So
true.
I think for me, like I come here and I feel safe. And again, the intrigue that people have with foreigners, I think is always something that in some ways, like we like the attention, right? I think sometimes being noticed, like people are like, oh, you're different. And then they want to hear your story, then you're like, you can share. Now, I know there's some people that are more extroverted, so they like that. Some people that are more introverted, they might be like, don't talk to me, don't come close. Like, why are they always interfering in my business? Do you ever feel, you know, like they can be too much?
I think that's a really good question, because I'm actually like, I'm a really outgoing person.
Yeah.
But in recent years, there has been a development that like really annoys me more and more.
Okay. What is it?
It is, you know, it is the staring of people.
Apparently they do that.
I have sometimes the feeling that I'm more like an animal, you know, it's like, foreigner.
Yeah.
And I just like, you know, I mean, it's normal, you know, when you see something that is special and that's different, you look.
Yeah.
But I think we're in 2024 and we are in Taipei. It's the capital city of Taiwan.
And there's a lot of...
We should be educated that we say, okay, we look, but we just don't want to make the other person uncomfortable, you know?
That's so true.
Of course, you know, me, white skin, you know, long brown hair, I look different from you. Yeah. You're allowed to look and I have no problem, but if you just look...
Yeah. Wait, stop. Stop looking at me like that. Do they actually stare like that?
Yeah, or sometimes...
Oh, just with the phone and like slowly zooming in. Yeah.
It makes me mad.
You know, I hear a lot of my girl friends like yourself, you know, come up with this issue. I think just, again, like you're saying, it makes so much sense. When you are different, of course, you notice. But I feel like it's kind of rude to just stare, right? Like
it's the same when I see a very tall person or very small person. You know, he or she is different, and maybe I take a look, but I always really want to make sure that I'm not making this person uncomfortable, because this is not what this person deserves, right?
Exactly.
We should not go through the world and just make other people uncomfortable for our entertainment.
Yeah, that's true. How do you deal with that? Do you?
Depends on my mood.
Do you just speak to them in Mandarin, or do you like?
Sometimes when I see that they make a picture, sometimes I can get really, really like bad. I had somebody who was following me for half a day. And I actually, you know, because I have a sixth sense, and I just like looked at him and said, give me a phone. And he's like, why? I just like, give me a phone. I know that you.
Yeah.
And he really had like hundreds of pictures and videos taken. And I just called the police. Or another one, you know.
Guys, please. They're beautiful, but well, like 3 seconds is too much,
Don't do
right?
that.
Like just
Yeah.
it's don't make yourself a creep.
Or another one, I think this is years ago when I was in the MRT, and you know, you have this bully, you know, and you can see what he's typing. And
right.
I saw that he took a picture and he shared it in his line group. It was so funny.
Oh.
And then I looked at him, give me your phone. And he's just like, what? Mail? Nothing. I just give me your phone. And I just took his phone and he opened the pictures and he just see nothing. And I just opened the line group and I just just take a look. This will happen if you take a picture and share it to a group of other men. And just took his phone and just slammed it on the ground.
Wow, you made a public announcement and wow.
Yeah. You know, because Taiwanese people, they love nothing more than their face.
Yeah.
And if you don't, and this is where I know where I can hurt them the most.
Gotcha. Listen, so don't mess
evil.
with you. Yeah.
I can't be so evil.
No, but honestly, I think there comes a time where it's not okay. Because I get that people usually, you know, they sometimes are curious or they think beautiful. So they want to like get a picture, want to like, wow, 你看今天看到外国人. But like, I feel like, again, just how would you treat your own daughter or son or your own sibling or your parent? Like, you wouldn't just like be creepy that way, right? So I feel like definitely show respect to one another. And we don't want to make anybody uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But okay, so that's the bad stuff that's been happening. You are in the process, or have you complete the process? Can you tell us what's going on? You're going from German citizenship to... that's your German passport.
Yeah, that's my German passport.
And now you also have a Taiwanese passport.
Yes.
Give us a whole story. What's happening here? How did you get that?
Well, actually, I always wanted to be Taiwanese. You know, since the
From
moment
16.
Yeah, since the moment I'm here, I just know I belong here. You know, I mean, pros and cons beside all this, because every country has its pros and cons,
Certainly.
right? It just depends if you can live with it or not.
Yes, exactly.
And I think despite Taiwanese people being annoying sometimes and working hours might be long, stuff like this, I love being here, you know? It's like, I have the feeling that I grew up here.
Wow.
You know, since I'm 16,
sense of belonging.
And it's like 11 years or almost 12 years. It's all I know, you know, basically.
Yeah.
So I just like, why should I not become a Taiwanese?
Wow, that's crazy.
Because I mean, I know that Taiwan is at the moment like still with China, and it is the political issues, and a lot of people just like, why are you doing this? Why do you give up your German passport to get the Taiwanese passport? Because if war is coming, you should leave. And I just like, I'm never going to leave, you know.
Wow, you're gonna be in the front lines.
We live together and we die together. Wow. You know, I cannot.
That's commendable.
How could I, when war is coming, take my German passport and say goodbye? See you. I feel so sorry for you, but I'm going back. And then I'm sitting on my sofa in Germany and see my people and my friends suffer. You know, this is not going to happen. This is actually one of the main reasons why I want to have the Taiwanese passport. You know.
Yeah.
I think, especially in Taiwan, without the Taiwanese passport, I'm not really like a member of society.
Right.
I need to do my contribution. Yeah.
That's so crazy, because it's very commendable that I feel like you have this spirit, because I think most people I know, you know, when they hear about these 两岸, you know, having these conflict and stuff, they're always already looking for plan B, and they're like, oh, do we have connections here? Do we have there? Like, how are we going to get away?
Don't understand me wrong. I mean, this is normal. Who wants to suffer? Who wants to die in the end, right?
Yeah.
And this is a decision that I made for myself, and I would never ever like ask anybody else, force it upon other people, you know. If you don't want to stay here, of course. I mean, this is what every normal human being would do, you know. Like, first response is like, oh my God, how am I getting out here?
Yeah. But honestly, like, I have a similar sense to you. I feel like I share a similar sentiment in that, like, if we only, if we only appreciate the good during the good times, and when bad time comes, we're the first out of there, then I'm like, did I truly contribute to this society? Did I truly feel like I am being a part of this country? Because like, it cannot just be like the good times, we're here for it, and bad times out of here. Like, I kind of admire that, and I share the same thing in that I think as Taiwanese people, you know, like this is part of our home.
Exactly.
And if we have gotten opportunities, the safety, the convenience, all these things that we can list that we can go on, we should continue to fight for that. And
I think so, yeah. I mean, freedom is always worth to fight. And if there's nobody who's fighting for freedom, then there won't, I mean, freedom is not coming for free, right? And a lot of people have been very, has paid the price for the freedom we enjoy right now.
Absolutely.
And when it comes to us maybe needing to pay the price for freedom in Taiwan, in this country, then I'm just paying the price together with them.
Wow. That is commendable, and it's so cool that we get to hear your story about how you got here, and
Thank you.
You know, like getting through the process, and now I want to say congratulations for becoming one of us. It's not an easy road, I'm sure, but
no, it isn't.
I'm very excited for you, and I think there's a bright future still, you know, to be a part of our society and see what Taiwan can now offer you, you know, as a home. And yeah, we have another episode that we're gonna stay tuned for, because this next episode we want to talk about all the languages that you speak.
Sure,
because
I love to.
I remember the first time I met you, like we were filming WTO, and I just recall you talking to basically all the countries in their home language, and I was like, where does this girl come from? Like, how does she speak all these languages?
Sometimes this and sometimes that.
Yeah.
Not.
So many. So congratulations once again on your citizenship.
I just see this like this is not the end of the road. This is just the beginning of the road.
Exactly.
Yes.
And please do stay tuned for our next episode. All right. Until next time. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
如果你也想成为下一位爆红创作者，请打开下方资讯栏连结，一起来投稿吧。